Wight Motors has been selling cars to island motorists for more than 80 years. It is a family business run by Roy and Barbara Butler, and we asked Roy to explain to us how a franchise operates and how the motor industry has coped with the recession over the last 2 years.
Wight Motors first started in 1926 in Newport, and in 1931 moved to Ryde in Garfield Road, and was there until 3 years ago when we moved the whole operation to Sandown. We opened our Sandown branch back in 1975, and we had Ford and Daihatsu and Toyota at our Ryde branch, and we then had Toyota here. Over the years, Wight Motors themselves has had many franchises, mainly Humber and Hillman and Singer. And at one stage, we even operated a private ambulance service before the National Health Service took it over. We saw more of a future with the then emerging Japanese car makes, and we chose Toyota because we thought they had the best model range going forward and the best ethos going forward, and I think we've been proven right. We took a similar view in 2000 with Korea, because Korea we could see was emerging, and Hyundai at that point was, I think, 10th in the world, but it had only started in 1956, so it's fairly young and was growing. So we took the opportunity of taking it on, and once again that has grown and they're now 5th in the world. Seat we took on in 2005 and 2006, sorry. We just needed a fill-in. We needed the fill-in between Hyundai, which was the affordable range of cars, Toyota, which met our sort of, shall we say, the more middle-aged to older customer, and Seat was more of a sporty mid-range, which would attract the younger customer in. Franchises can be a bit of a mixed blessing, really. I think anybody contemplating taking a franchise on would have to enter into it with their eyes wide open. It's not all milk and honey. There are lots of standards and lots of costs involved. If you were starting from, shall we say, a used car operation, which is normally the traditional route, somebody would start up a garage or they would buy into a garage. You'd have a repair business and you would sell used cars. That would expand and you'd get a slightly bigger business, and things are going well, and you feel that you want to take the next step. A franchise, you get the kudos of having the franchise name over the door. It obviously helps you generate more used cars, and it's another arm to your business. However, the entry cost can be high, and the more popular the franchise, the more expensive the entry fees are, if you like. So say you wanted to become, we'll take an extreme example, Mercedes dealer. Now for you to just start up from cold, I guess it would cost you between £500,000 and £1 million. So that's the sort of cost, because they will want a showroom of a certain size. They will want all of the various things that go in the showroom, the floor, the ceiling, the lighting. The workshop would have to be a certain standard and a certain size, and you would have to meet all of the other training and financial standards that they want. 30 odd years ago we looked at what was then emerging, which was the Japanese. I would personally look at what is emerging now, which would probably be the Chinese. I think in 10 years' time, they'll be a force to reckon with. You can't buy a franchise. You can buy the premises, you can buy the cars, but you can't buy the franchise. The franchise has to be awarded. Are you able to raise the finance? You obviously need finance. Once you've bought the business, you're going to need the finance to run the business, because you have to run demonstrators, and you have to buy parts stock and all the other things that go with a franchise. So you need to go in with it with eyes very much wide open.
If you're lucky enough to then be awarded a franchise, what period of contract does the industry usually look at?
Well, there's normally two types of contract. There's the fixed, which is normally 5 years. In most instances, if you're doing a good job, you're happy with them, they're happy with you. At the end of the 5 years, it signs another 5-year contract, so it then goes on for another 5 years. However, most franchises have a rolling contract. So that would be a rolling contract with a termination period of 1 or 2 years.
Going on to how the general market is in the car industry at the moment, how have the last couple of years been for your business?
I think with us and with most garages, 2008 was a year that we will always remember and always try and forget. It was pretty horrendous. The valuations of used cars were falling by ridiculous sums. In normal circumstances, a bread and butter car would be reducing or depreciating by 150, maybe £200. Bread and butter cars were depreciating between £500 and £700 a month. New cars registrations peaked in 2006 and have been declining ever since. In May, the government brought in the scrappage scheme. In actual fact, it's not £2,000 from the government, it's £1,000 from the manufacturers and the dealers and £1,000 from the government. But however, it worked. It worked spectacularly well. And from May onward, we've started getting back to some normality. I think on the whole, it's one of the better ideas that our government's come up with.
What areas of the market are currently the strongest or growing?
The greatest growth we have seen is in the A car sector, the small car sector, city cars. For businesses, obviously they are more interested in things like personal taxation. So once again, any car with lower emissions, things like the Prius. Prius has done very well for us because it has emissions now below 100 kilograms per kilometre. So it's zero road tax and the lowest band on personal taxation.